North-South Connection. Welcome to the most extreme menage a trois violence you'll ever experience here on the Extreme Three-Way Dance. JT joining me as always on the trip through violence, gore, and some great wrestling too. Is Matt and Jenny? How you both doing?
Doing very good.
I do love violence and gore, as we all know.
Gore! Not quite yet there. Getting there. We started this journey in February of 1994 in the world of extreme. We're here in June of 1999 as we inch toward the final 18 months of ECW, which is just crazy talk. But we're going to do it. We're going to finish this journey and to give our final thoughts on this wonderful promotion. Just like we give final thoughts on a lot of other content here on North-South Connection and beyond. All kinds of cool evergreen content. We had some really fun King of the Ring stuff. Kind of, if you like the evergreen type of nostalgia, breaking down ranking all the King of the Ring pay-per-views. Ryan and Marcus had a really fun quick hit. I think it's under half hour where they go through all the missing King of the Ring years and kind of say who should have been king if they had a tournament, or queen as they get to the later years. So that was a lot of fun. So if you subscribe to us on YouTube, on any podcast application, as well as TikTok, you get all kinds of almost daily content here, wrestling and beyond. And of course, this podcast, if you're listening to us, is simulcast. You can watch us on YouTube if you want, or if you're watching and you prefer to take us on the go, you can listen as well. So just subscribe to both and you can have your choice. Also want to promote the Backbone Wrestling Podcast Network, and that is a brand new venture, audio only. Matt, you're a big part of that, but that's some really, we pride ourselves on being pretty nerdy here in the no-so, but the Backbone's extra nerdy. If you're really into history of wrestling and some current wrestling sprinkled in as well, you guys are doing some fun deep dives and travels through stuff like TNA, YouTube Roulette, right? It's still going. So you're going through kind of all mixed match wrestling stuff on there. Territorial, which is a great podcast by Sean Kidd, where he's going through, feuds and of territories, from years gone by. He really dives deep into them, play some audio clips as well. That's a lot of fun. And then what else, Matt, do we got over there? Ruthless Aggression, New Gen.
Ruthless Aggression, yep, all kinds of good stuff. So check all of it out because it's all fantastic. It's a labor of love. We love doing it, so it's fantastic. It's been great so far. So check it out, Backbone Wrestling Network.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and definitely worth to subscribe, and you'll kill lots of time for sure listening into that. So be sure to subscribe. Check out everything here. Like I said, North-South Connection and the Backbone. And Jenny, of course, you have a lot of content here on the No-So every Wednesday with the Jenny position. So we're got you covered. Check it all out. Happy to be here and happy to have you sharing and, of course, subscribing and commenting. Why not? All of it. All right, we got 3 weeks of ECW television to cover here tonight. We're going to start with June 12th, 1999. We open with clips of the ongoing war between Cyrus, Steve Corino, and Taz, all that drama. We then get our opening animation. Hypes up Heat Wave, our next pay-per-view, coming on July 18th. Joey's in the nest. His Heat Wave will happen yet again in Daytona, Dayton this year, or Dayton, as Matt Rotello would say.
Dayton.
Of course, last year was kind of a happy accident, if you recall. It was supposed to be Indianapolis, right? But it was like the same weekend as the race, the big race. And they end up moving to Dayton. The crowd was red hot. They were happy with it, so they're going to return. We get a very long highlight package of Heat Wave 98 to kind of remind us of what things were like in Dayton. Joey says the fans are already asking, can they top last year's Heat Wave? And Joey basically just says, tune in and watch us do it. We then go to Hardcore Heaven 99. We see a clip of Jerry Lynn and RVD when Lynn smashed his face on the floor. We find out he'll make his return to the ring later tonight in Dalton, Georgia, which is where we head for our opening match, which is Taka Michinoku taking on El Mosco de la Merced. Mosco hits the ring in Dalton. We kick the show off, some light heavyweight action. Joey says Taka is currently kind of working all over the place. He's in ECW. He's still working for the WWF. He's a Michinoku Pro. He's working Puerto Rico in the IWA and doing some work in Mexico as well. And he thinks it's going to his head. Taka wants a handshake to start, slaps it away, chops at Mosco. Mosco gets a drop kick to drive Taka outside, tries a pescado, but Taka steps away and he splatters on the floor. Taka works him over back in the ring, chopping Mosco down on a leapfrog attempt, slugging and kicking away. Mosco shrugs that off, sends Taka outside with a Rana, meets him on the baseball slide, then knocks him into the crowd. Mosco pops up, meets Taka with an acai. Back inside, Mosco hits a missile drop kick, chops away, and then gets a top rope Rana for 2. Taka counters another Rana to a Boston Crab, stomps away, slams Mosco, but misses a senton. So Mosco drops a leg, tries a moonsault, but he grazes Taka's knees as they kind of mistime the spot. Taka goes back up, gets a spin heel kick, and finishes with the Michinoku driver. I like this. I thought Moscow looked pretty good here, maybe the best he's looked in general. Taka just fed into the very dominant finish once he got the upper hand. A couple of slip-ups late, I think, dragged it, but overall it's a fun TV match, Maddie. I think Taka's rolling. He's still kind of targeting super crazy. I really enjoyed Taka so far in this run. I think he's been a nice addition to the upper mid-card. He had some name value, too. So it's not just a guy that they're rolling out there they may not have heard of. So he's a guy that brings that name value to the proceedings, and he can obviously work and go. And now he's got some guys to show off with on the American stage. I went 3 stars in this, a very good TV match.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on it. To me, it felt more like it was a showcase for Taka, and it kind of felt like, which I know this is what it was, but it felt kind of house show-y to me, which I mean, it was totally fine for what it was, but I don't know. It was missing something some of Taka's other matches had, I thought, and honestly, I think it's because of the guy who he was in there with. Like, he wasn't in there with like a super crazy or anybody like that. I mean, it was still perfectly fine for what it was, but I mean, ultimately it was just a showcase for Taka. So it was, the finish was great. The driver, the Michinoku driver, is always great looking. So I went 2.5 on it. It was totally fine. Jenny?
Yeah, I'm with Maddie on this one. I like the fake handshake early because Taka is very attitudinal in the ring, and I like that about him. But they don't have that spark. Yeah, I feel like something was missing there. Fun match, some messiness early, some missed spots, but they pulled it together at the end with the high flying moves. Real crowd pleasing kind of match. So it's the 2.5 for me. You're muted.
I made this awesome joke about being attitudinal.
We'll say it again.
No. Yeah,
Say it
So
again.
I just said very attitudinal. It wasn't really that good of a
Okay.
joke.
Oh.
Anyway, we listened to some comments from Lance Storm via phone. He talks of the beating he laid on Tommy Dreamer at the pay-per-view, and he called out Jerry Lynn and reminds him, "You owe me, Mr. Lynn. I took you to the hospital when you broke your face on the floor." Joey's annoyed because now we have to go to Gertner Vision. So we go backstage. Joel's face is still wrapped up from the fireball. He's whining. Bubba says Devon gets to hook up a 300-pound white woman, and Devon says, well, that was the agreement. Gertner mumbles and whines some more, and the Dudleys struggle to follow what he's saying. Bubba says something about live bait, and Devon says that'll get them kicked off TBS. Sign Guy says they're not on TBS, and Joel's obviously talking about balls. Bubba starts to take his pants off because he says balls, and Sign Guy clarifies, no, balls Mahoney, and says the word in the locker room is that he's alone, and Bubba says he's thick in the head and drinks a lot of Jack. He's sitting in the hotel drinking Jack. The Dudleys piece together that Balls has no partner, no one to watch his back, and they decide now is the time to attack. Bubba verifies there'll be no one there to help, and they head off with some chairs, calling for Balls. We take a break. We come back. The Dudleys are stalking Balls in the shower. He's rambling about soap as they try and come up with a plan. Joel mumbles and gives Devon some soap, and Sign Guy starts doing a fake voice to bait Balls. Balls thinks he's going to get interviewed, so he comes out of the shower. But Devon rubs the soap in his eyes, and Bubba hits him with a chair. Balls is bleeding on the floor as the Dudleys are laughing, but they realize they didn't get paid for this. Sign Guy says he enjoyed it, so he gives Bubba $2 and Devon an Amex, and the Dudleys head off giggling. Jenny, what did you think of this? I know you were a little spotty on it at the pay-per-view when we kind of got this stuff as a time filler, but the Dudleys seem to continue to be the guns for hire, attacking guys backstage, which, again, we mentioned it. We don't get like a ton of backstage stuff in ECW. Yeah. Everything generally plays out in the arena. But this is something they've been dabbling with a bit more. The Dudleys is taking out these attacks backstage.
Yeah, it's definitely feeling like more mainstream what wrestling was doing at the time. So I get them wanting to do things like this, and the Dudleys, I guess, are good for this. Gertner Vision is just fun. It's just so a lot on the screen. Like, it was a little hard to follow, just like a lot happening. But poor Joel, like, how is he can't communicate? Like, isn't he the mouthpiece for this team and he can't even talk? So I'm worried, for Joel now. How's he going to ring announce? But yeah, I mean, it wasn't really funny. It wasn't not funny. It was just.
Well, do you think the soap attack was effective? Was that a proper way to go about this? Rubbing soap in his eyes?
Right. Yeah. It was very comical. Yes. I mean, when you're going to hit him with the chair, I think the soap in the eyes is just, kind of overkill. Probably just could have hit him with the chair. But, Balls was in his underwear, so I got to see that. That was something.
Was he showering in the underwear?
He
That was my
wet.
question.
Got dressed pretty quick.
That was my question.
Just threw on some underwear, I
Well,
guess.
when he's wet, that's gonna be like one of the
Yeah.
grossest things you could
Yeah.
do. Like you're soaking wet, you put on a pair of underwear.
Well, it's Balls Mahoney. I figure he's
Yeah, I guess
kind
they
of
didn't care.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
All due respect.
this was totally fine. I mean, I thought it made more sense being on weekly TV than at the pay-per-view, but I mean, it was. I mean, we're continuing the Dudleys versus Balls and whoever feud, so it was a good another step to that. But I mean, I'm kind of like Jenny. It was just kind of there. Like I don't know. I didn't find it all that funny or anything like that. Gertner was funny, being all wrapped
Yeah.
up, but
hmm
the rest of it, I mean, was kind of just whatever. You know, it felt to me like I feel like every time you see Gertner vision, it's because they need to kill time on an episode of
Oh
TV.
yeah.
hmm
I feel like more than ever in '99. Honestly, we've really been relying on a lot of this time filler stuff, and I think they found ways to make it entertaining. We've had times in the past where they've replayed like the same video every week, but it does feel like lately they're hurting a little bit more for content to fill
Yeah.
some of the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll see if that exacerbates as they get to TNN. Now they have 2 shows to do, right? That's coming up.
Yep.
So we'll see. But if it does feel like time to time, we're like, all right, well, we could have probably just aired one more match. And I don't know, being on the road more has played a role in that than it did in the past. Like before that, everything was pretty much from the arena and they exhausted
Mhm.
everything that they were
Mhm.
filming. Since they've been on the road, a lot of the TV is just from all these random places. So maybe they're just
Right.
not getting as much out of the tapings as they had been. So
That's a good point. Yeah. The
Yeah.
travel, makes a difference.
Yep.
and maybe even just beaming it back over the satellite and
Mhm.
how quick they can turn things around. So maybe they're pre-taping or filling more stuff than they had been because they can't turn around the footage as quickly as they were with all the travel.
Right.
So
All right.
maybe just a hypothesis. Lance Storm's on the phone ranting about the Dudleys getting too much TV time and says he and Credible could beat them for the belts. Then head back to the ring as Jerry Lynn is taking on Tony DeVito, rising star. We found out he's a friend of Wild Bill Wiles, and he's in Tony's corner tonight. Odd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird
Good
friends in ECW.
Yeah.
DeVito gets a quick arm drag and celebrates it. We get some chain work out of that, both working the arm for brief spurts. DeVito bails outside to a break. When we return, he's back in the ring, gets a power slam for 2. DeVito chokes Lynn as he draws with the crowd, then grabs a chair from Wiles, sets it up, and drives Lynn into it with a drop toe hold. He's talking shit. Covers and gets 2. DeVito kicks Lynn down, drops the leg, continues to play to the crowd. Lynn gets a foot up to the nuts on a Bronco Buster, follows with a flying head scissors, gets 2 on a back elbow. DeVito recovers, gets an impaler for 2, but Lynn comes right back with a tornado DDT for 2. Wild Bill Wiles is on the apron. Lynn jaws with him. He dodges the DeVito chair shot, drop kicks DeVito and the chair into Wiles, and finishes with a cradle pile driver. This is all right. I thought it made Lynn look a little weak. DeVito really dominated, and the only lapses he had was barking to the crowd, which he did constantly. Lynn revved up down the stretch. It got better, but it really wasn't the usual Lynn we're used to seeing. DeVito had a nice debut overall, so that was fine. And it was good enough to get Lynn back in action. So a little disappointed in a Lynn match, only going 2.5 stars for me in that. But I guess at the same time, you're trying to argue maybe he's a little rusty. He's shaking off the head injury. So you can say like, all right, well, that you can explain away why DeVito's like dominating so much, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I only went 2 on this, but that was my main complaint, was just having some schlub who just showed up now randomly being able to hang with Jerry Lynn. I don't know. Like, to me, this is a match that should have been a squash for Lynn in, like, I don't know, 5 minutes tops. And the fact that DeVito ends up getting the bulk of the offense in this match was just, for a guy who's never, to my knowledge, unless I completely forgot, he's never showed up before. So, like, it's very weird. And it's a weird, like, first match back for Lynn. Or one of the first matches back for Lynn, I should say. Just, it's very weird. I mean, Lynn looked good here, but I don't know. I didn't like how much he got the shit kicked out of him in this. So I docked it for that. I only went 2 stars on this, Jenny.
Yeah, I was a little worried for Jerry Lynn. Like, are you sure you should be wrestling so soon after your injury? And then, his performance made it seem like he was kind of struggling with that. Or maybe he was just not in top gear because he's just wrestling like a nobody guy. So why would he bring it, when he can, I don't know. It was definitely more lively than I expected it to be. And DeVito very cocky in the ring. A lot of attitude there too. And
Very attitudinal.
yes. But he's like a local guy, right? So right? Isn't that right? Isn't that why he was in the match?
No, I don't think he's local to Georgia. I think he's like a New York guy. So
Ah,
I think he may be coming in. I mean, I think Matt mentioned we hadn't seen him yet, but I do think he sticks around for a bit. So I think he's just new to the promotion. It's just a guy they're bringing up from the indies.
Mm-hmm.
It felt a little bit like the Von Krush stuff we saw right with RVD, like in the hometown stuff and all that. But yeah, I don't know. It seems like maybe they're trying to pick some guys up from the Northeast Indies Skull's been around for a little bit, but between Skull and now DeVito, it seems like they're trying to bring in some new lower level talent to start replacing some of the stuff that's flowing out.
Well, I'm encouraging of that. I think that's a great idea, and they should continue to do that. This guy seems all right. So I did 2 1/4 stars.
All right. Rob Van Dam and Fonzie meet with Lynn backstage. They have a very passive-aggressive discussion talking about the pay-per-view. RVD says it looks like Lynn got knocked out cold. And Lynn says, well, he thought that too after he powerbombed RVD through a table. RVD says Lynn earned the respect of a lot of people that night. And Lynn says, well, you one of them. RVD kind of dances around, says, yeah, you're very respectable. Lynn wants a rematch on pay-per-view. And RVD's great. He goes, another rematch? Fonzie says, no way. Lynn shoves him and says, stay out of it. And RVD says not to blame Fonzie when Lynn is just bitter. And Lynn says he is bitter or better. RVD says his music's on. He's got a job to do. And RVD says he'll make time for Lynn as he heads out the curtain. So kind of a tease. We're probably getting RVD on the next week. They kind of try to do a little flow maybe to the shows. We'll see. But this continuing feud, are you good with this continuing feud, Jenny, of RVD and Lynn, or are you done with it? Are you happy that it's another rematch?
Let's do another rematch. I honestly love watching them wrestle. And I think that they left some in the tank at the end of that last one, and definitely feels like there's room for another match. I like Jerry Lynn, being kind of mouthy, being kind of in RVD's face a little bit, and telling Fonzie to stay out of it and stuff like that. I liked the interaction. I liked it was right there backstage, right before RVD was about to go up. It was well shot, like that little area. I really enjoyed this segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, like, to Jenny's point, they definitely have more in the tank. And if they're doing a third one, like, throw a stip on it or something, make it like, I don't know, like a ladder match or just something to kind of like up the stakes a little bit if they're doing RVD Jerry Lynn again. Because not that the other matches, like, they definitely have more in the tank, but I could see them maybe throwing even like 2 out of 3 falls or just something like that. I think would be really neat if they did that.
Do you guys feel that this is building for Lynn to finally beat RVD? Or is it going to be a Dreamer Raven scenario where RVD just always outlasts him? Because you're going to think at some point this TV title reign is going to end and they want to move RVD to the world title, I would think. I know they've been using him to elevate the TV title. They're trying to make them equal in ways and make the TV title feel on the level of the world title, which he's done. It feels already it's a very highly regarded title. But at some point, you're going to think they want him to be their top guy. Right. So do you feel like we're doing this dance to get Lynn eventually to win over the hump? Or is it going to be like RVD beats him? They earn respect, but RVD rolls on. Like, do you feel like this is the guy that's going to beat him with the way this is going?
Yes, I think so. Maybe not just now, but still set it, because I feel like there's a lot more they can do here. So maybe not quite yet, but eventually, yes, I think he wins.
Yeah, I feel like you got to give Jerry Lynn a win over RVD at some point. Otherwise, the whole story of this whole feud has kind of been for nothing. Like that's the end game here is Jerry Lynn eventually beating RVD.
Whether it happens, the story.
Right, exactly. Whether it happens at Heat Wave or sometime later on in the year, who knows? But
yeah, we'll see if the Undertaker helps.
Especially since Taz is still out there blowing in the wind with nobody to fight too. So do it now if you want.
Yeah, RVD. In a perfect world, we'll see if we ever get there. But RVD losing to Lynn and then a big RVD Taz, like November to Remember world title match feels like a big deal if they want to get to that point. All right, let's hit our awards for this episode. Best match, worst match. Taka Moscow was best. Lynn DeVito worst, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's only 2 matches on the night.
Yep.
Best moment, I went with what we just talked about, RVD and Lynn backstage.
Yep.
Not a lot of 90s moments. I went the concept of live baits that they threw out there, which I feel like that was kind of during this spring break, Jerry Springer era. It was like the idea of the concept or the term live bait was like kind of a 90s thing. I could be wrong. It felt like very 90s
No.
to me. I feel like it's something you hear
We'll go
after.
with
I
it.
don't know.
Yeah,
It's
we'll
more it's more of a 90s thing than I had. I didn't have anything for most 90s. So.
Yeah.
Stock rising, Storm, Taka, Dudley's, Lynn, Van Dam, pretty much. And then falling, I just had Balls and Wiles. Kind of had
Yeah.
tough nights. Balls are just
Just randomly, the timekeeper is a character now. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, we really are
that's been like the one
struggling.
thing. The one thing for sure in ECW that's always bothered me is these random one-off things that come out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah.
oh, Bill Wiles is good friends with Tony. Like, what the fuck is that from? That's been a constant from the beginning. Like these weird, sudden like appearances of people that never do anything, but now we're best friends with wrestlers. All right, I went 5 out of 10. That was a pretty middling episode. I mean, a couple good matches, nothing really storyline wise. I don't know what went on with that Dalton show. Like, we didn't get a lot from it. Remember, they hyped up the Balls Axel
Yeah.
blood match. I don't know if that even ever happened. And if
Yeah, I
it did,
don't
maybe they
know.
didn't want to show it on TV. I have no idea. It feels like maybe that was a forgotten show because they really just punt this episode with a couple matches, and then we don't get anything else from Dalton because the RVD even teased like coming out of the curtain and all that. And
Right.
I don't think we ever
I
even
wondered
see
where
whatever
that
that was
match
going to
was.
be. Yeah. So we're gone from Dalton. So it was a weird episode.
Weird.
Yeah, I only went 4.5 on this. I thought this was not a great episode. I mean, both matches were peaked at like okay, but just not much going on this episode.
Yeah, 5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I wanted to look just really quick and see these results if they did fight. No, it doesn't look like they had a match because Balls beat our buddy Rugged Rod Price.
God.
Yeah. So we don't see anything else from this show, right? I don't think.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay, because I'll read the card down. No, there's only 2 matches we show. Okay. So Taka beat Moscow, Lynn beat DeVito. Those are the first 2 matches, is all we see.
Yeah.
The Dudleys beat Chris Chetty and Nova. Balls beat Rod Price. Tajiri beat Little Guido. Skull Von Krush and the Spanish Angel went to a no contest with Amish Roadkill and Danny Doring. Sabu beat Just Incredible, and then RVD beat Spike Dudley in the main event. So not much cooking on that show at all.
No.
I can see maybe why they didn't show much else.
Yeah.
So yeah, odd. But I wonder if Axel walked out or something before that, because after the pay-per-view they were supposed to have that match, and they kept, remember, they hyped it specifically in Dalton.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was odd.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking real quick here, John. Yeah, I don't know. It's not. Yeah, like I know he's not done. I know he's back, so I don't know. Maybe just got hurt and they had to bag it or something, but nothing there specific. If anyone knows, let us know, Rocco or anyone, if he quit and then came back, or if he just was hurt. Whatever. All right, June 19th, we open backstage. Stephen Prazak pops out from behind a wall. He's talking to Balls. We're in Columbia, South Carolina. I had South Carolina, but when I just looked at that listing, I think it said actually Columbia, Georgia.
I had South Carolina.
Yeah, me too.
I think they say it. I'm pretty sure they say it.
All right. That listing said Georgia, but it's probably South Carolina. If I had it, they probably said it. I don't think I would have guessed. We're at the Township Auditorium. Last week, the Dudleys did a number on Balls. Balls says, if Prazak's a true newsman, he's going to find the Dudleys and give him a scoop. Make some news. C.W. Anderson comes in. Well, we haven't really seen much of him. He's all smiles.
I was like, who the fuck is that?
Again, this is like, I guess I think at this point he's like a trainee or whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see. You're going to become well established with Mr. Anderson soon. He says hello, but Balls smacks him with a chair. Balls tries to get in a separate part of the building, but security stops him and says they have 2 jobs: to keep Sabu out of the building and keep the Dudleys isolated. Balls says he has to get inside, but security won't budge. He rants about the attack from last week. Why are the Dudleys being protected? And of course, the Dudleys show up behind security. They're taunting him, but then Bubba comes out from behind and nails Balls, and security kind of drives away. Balls is in pain. Any thoughts on this opening segment before we kind of get into the actual episode here?
I really like this whole backstage thing that they're doing now. Like, and this different stuff. We get to see different parts of wherever they're at, which is cool because they're traveling so much. And so you get a lot of cool locations, and I just thought this was funny. Like, Balls beating the shit out of some random guy. I'm like, okay, that guy looks friendly. I don't know.
Well, I can see why he's frustrated. It's like, why are we protecting? I guess the idea maybe is that they're isolating the Dudleys so they don't attack anyone. But all
Yeah.
they did was tie up Balls so Bubba could whack him from behind.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of a shitty approach by security.
Poor Balls, he gets screwed over again. I feel sorry for him. He needs a partner. He needs somebody to watch his back.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're continuing this seemingly never-ending Dudley versus Balls Mahoney thing. Like you said, he needs a partner, especially if Axel's gone, not gone, who knows what's going on with Axel. But yeah, I mean, I did like it. It's interesting that like the Dudleys get their own locker room, but fucking Taz and RVD don't for some reason.
Yeah.
Just super weird, but it was the chair shot was brutal. Poor Balls. How many fucking chair shots is this poor man gonna take to the head? Good lord.
He does need a friend. He definitely needs a friend here.
Somebody.
With Axel out of the way.
Get him Bismarcky, just a friend.
Or Bismarck, North Dakota.
Him too, yeah.
All right, we have our opening animation. Joey's in the nest. He welcomes us to the historic township, which was once part of the Mid-Atlantic region under the Crockett's, and that led to a controversial situation tonight that involved Steve Corino yet again making an ass out of himself. Corino's in the ring, talks about the great Mid-Atlantic legacy, legends, and mentions Ric Flair with a Social Security joke. Corino says they were great champions of the past, but now everyone's looking at a new age world champion. We then cut to Corino still ranting about becoming the next champion. He's in the greatest shape of his life. Taz's music hits. He stomps out to a pop. Joey says Cyrus has messed with Corino. Tell him to go out and get himself over. And Corino says he was stooged the wrong info and wasn't supposed to be here. And he's having an appendix attack and he may throw up. He asks Taz not to kill him. Taz takes a towel off. Corino says they can do this peacefully, just like Kosovo. And if he wasn't hurt and in bad shape, he would beat Taz. We cut again. The crowd is now chanting for Taz to fuck up Corino. Corino asks the fans if they want a world title match. And Corino says he does too. And he asks for my man's music to be fired up. But nothing happens. Corino says he has a wife and son. And Taz says he hopes Corino kissed his son goodbye because he's going to kill him. Corino keeps asking for music. He says he's going to pee himself. Taz slugs him down and stomps away. And we cut to Spike Dudley's music as he stomps out because he does have a real world title match here tonight. So, Matt, did you follow this stuff okay here? A lot of cuts back and forth.
Good God.
Spike is kind of random. Do you find the Corino stuff to be still... Is Corino playing mind games or is he really the patsy getting set up? Because it still kind of feels either way right now. It feels like he is kind of a step ahead at times, or is he being baited by Cyrus and Taz into just getting humiliated?
That's a fantastic question that I don't have an answer for because I have no idea. Like you, I could see it going either way. Either way, all I know is Corino has been super entertaining during this. It is weird that they made it kind of seem like Spike is working for Corino with how this was all framed and everything, and to the point where even Joey says, "Now look, Spike is not working for Corino. This was a scheduled title match. We swear he's not working with Steve Corino." So that was a little weird, but I mean, the Corinos, I mean, he's just been super. I never would have thought I've enjoyed Steve Corino as much as I had to this point. It's fucking crazy. Just the whining he does. It's just it's super entertaining. I'm gonna pee myself. It's great. Like it's unbelievable, Jenny.
Yeah, it's just amazing how much smack he talks about Taz and then folds immediately as soon as he sees Taz. So great. He's just such a chicken shit guy, and he plays it really well. His appendix attack was great. And then he always adds like another detail, I think, because he's been working that appendix thing for a minute. But then he added his wife and his son and pleading for his life, and he's going to pee himself. So he finds ways to kind of bring up the stakes every time. But Taz seems to enjoy it too, which I think is funny. Like he just seems to kind of, he doesn't seem annoyed by it. He seems like kind of amused.
Yeah, he's like amused.
Yeah.
Right.
So I like Taz playing that way, and it makes me enjoy the whole package a lot more.
Well, it makes you think too, like maybe Corino is masterminding it, right? He's trying to lull Taz into this, like almost underestimating him. It's amusing to him, and then perhaps strike when the time's right. We'll see.
I could see it. I can see that.
It's because it's an interesting approach they're taking. And Matt, it's funny because it reminds me a bit of like what was supposed to happen in WCW a little bit before this that never happened with Jericho and Goldberg, where you kind of had this like comedic mid-card guy trying to step up and will his way into a feud with like the unstoppable world champion, and Goldberg basically said, "Fuck off, I'm not fighting you," leading to Jericho leaving, right? With Corino, though, Taz is playing ball and involved in the feud. So I think it was an interesting, similar timing and similar types of characters, I thought. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, to that point, like we all know how much everybody in ECW hates WCW like poison, but you got to wonder if they look back on that and stole that and said, let's do something like that. Only this time we'll pay it off.
Right. It feels similar because Corino's
Right.
Jericho had more, cred in
Right.
'98 than Corino does here, but it feels similar, right? You kind of have this little, snotty heel, like talking shit on the big bad wolf, and who's kind of nonchalant about it, right?
Right.
But now we're seeing Taz start to engage. So we do have our world title match, Taz versus Spike Dudley. Taz asked the crowd if Spike deserves a shot and if he should give it to him, and Taz says they could do it, but it's FTW rules and falls will count anywhere. Spike likes it, hops in the ring, Taz kicks him right back out. Outside, Taz shoots him into the railing. We see Corino's crying backstage about his face being broken. Prazak asks what he's doing. Why didn't you take your world title shot? Back in the ring, Taz is still beating on Spike. We cut to Taz flipping him into the crowd, dragging him through the bleachers. We clip again, go to the stage. Taz counters a Rhino with a powerbomb through a table. Spike briefly recovers. He bulldogs Taz into the broken table, slams a ladder on him for 2. We clip back to the ring where Taz hits a German, stomps away and catches Spike on a float over, mashes him with a vicious Alabama slam. Clip to a release head and arm, Taz plex. Clip again to Spike trying the acid drop. Taz counters, hits a hard clothesline. Joey blames Corino for this angry assault from Taz as he counters another acid drop into the Taz mission for the win. Taz claps and offers his hand for Spike. Spike kind of waves to an ovation as he leaves. Pretty much a squash. The clips gave it a fun vibe. I don't know if it helps maybe a little bit in this situation, not getting the whole thing. Taz was pretty brutal on offense throughout most of this, Jenny, though. I went 2.5 stars.
He was. He's really settling into this crowd brawling thing. Like I'm finding more and more that's what I want to see him do, as opposed to just being in the ring throwing fucking Taz plexes, which those are great too. But I like the crowd brawl. I like he drags Spike up the stairs just to turn around and throw them the fuck right down the stairs. So that was great. And then him putting him through the table, that was great. I do think the clipping does probably help cut out parts of this and bring it together more. But yeah, I would have liked to see it go a little longer. If I'm honest, I probably would have rated it a little higher if I had a few more minutes of Spike just being Spike, but I like him, giving a real good fight to Taz and eventually tapping to the Taz mission as you do. So 2.5 stars for me, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 2.5 on this too. Spike and Taz, they kind of work well together. Like, I feel like Spike is just the right type of guy for Taz to just fucking throw around and have Spike sell it like sweet death. It's just, it's a good mix for both guys. And I mean, Spike just, again, being thrown down the stairs, selling everything. The ladder shots were great. There was Spike powerbomb Taz through a table on the stage at one point. That was pretty good. So yeah, I mean, it was a good, like, we still need more challengers for Taz, but like if they want to go the Spike route for a little while, like why not at this point? Because this was a pretty fun little title match here. So 2.5 for me.
All right, we stick in the ring as Jerry Lynn is taking on David Cash, I believe, right? This is what he's still here as.
Yeah.
Not quite the kid. Lynn hits the ring. Joey says Lynn's temper is finally coming through. His issues with RVD, Just Incredible, and Lance Storm. We get clips of RVD and Lynn bickering backstage. We go to the ring. Lynn lands a vicious chop on Cash. Incredible and Jason strut to ringside. Jason's on his cell phone. We hear that Jason is what he's saying. He sounds like he's talking to Lance Storm. Incredible promises Storm that everything is fine. Cash chokes away at Lynn, but misses a charge. He flies hard to the floor. Lynn meets him with a somersault senton, shoots him into the railing. Jason Incredible head off as Cash recovers and shoots Lynn to the railing and chops away. Lynn smacks Cash around the outside. We go to break. We come back. Lynn and Cash get a flurry of near falls, reversals to a Cash clothesline. Joey says Cash is targeting the rehab nose of Lynn. Lynn floats out of a suplex, kicks Cash, and finishes him with the cradle pile driver. Lynn then hits the second pile driver after the bell. This could have been fun, but again, we didn't get to see a lot. There's more story in the match. Kind of 2 straight disappointing Lynn matches, Matt. More story based, I guess, than anything, but 2 stars. And you kind of think, all right, we're getting Lynn on TV. We're gonna crack 3 easy at least, or 275 maybe. I don't know. It wasn't even a squash. It's hard to explain really what these matches have been with Lynn, but 2 stars for me.
Yeah, I went 2 stars on this too. This is a weird one, sort of like the DeVito match. It wasn't as much of so much as like Cash getting offense in like DeVito would, but I don't know, just it's very weird. There was a lot of focus on Jason outside of the ring, which I think took away from it a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I get you have to do that, but I don't know, you don't have to do it in this match. It's just, it's kind of, I don't know. Lynn's on a very weird tear this episode and last episode. So, like, if they're going towards a third match with RVD, I don't know how this match and the match with Tony DeVito really helps him in that way. Because, like, I don't know. The fact that Lynn is struggling to beat Tony DeVito and now he has this match with Cash, it just doesn't really help him all that much. So 2 stars for me. Hopefully things change for Lynn soon because so far this ain't it, Jenny.
Do we think that his injury is to blame for this? Does this come into play on his performance in these matches?
I do wonder if he's like taking it easy a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, he broke his damn face and whatnot.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I could see him having trouble with that.
no.
And it makes sense to me to have him win a couple matches, leading up to RVD again, but also throw stuff in there like Jason Incredible. Have a story there so it's not just him trying to work hurt, through the matches. Jason looks incredibly dumb trying to talk on his cell phone ringside when it's everybody's screaming their balls off.
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Jason, I know, but I'm sorry. That was,
Said with love. Said with love.
yeah, that was a little silly. And I wasn't sure what they were so upset about or what they were even doing there. So that was a little confusing. Right. And Joey seemed very confused about it as well. But plus side, I do love Cash. And there was an old lady in the in the front row that smacked him when they came over to like work on the guardrail. This old lady was just smacking Cash. I was like, oh my God. What is she
Look, they
doing?
still believe in South Carolina.
Yeah, I was like,
still riddling, damn it.
That was amazing. So yeah, 2 stars for me.
All right. So we find out we're going to pick back up on a classic rivalry. Super Crazy is coming out, and Joey says the fans have voted to see a renewed rivalry with Tajiri. We cut to Danny Doring and Roadkill. They're backstage. Doring shouts out all the legends and tag teams of Mid-Atlantic and says none of them could stand up to Doring and Roadkill. Roadkill whispers to Doring, who wants Roadkill to do a shout out too, and Roadkill just says chickens and then walks off as Doring kind of gives some fake tears about the legendary chickens. Back to the ring, we got some happenings going on because the FBI is out. Big Sally Graziano mashes Tajiri through a table, leaves him laid out, and then Crazy and Guido start to shove in the ring, and our match has changed. It is no longer Tajiri versus Super Crazy. It is now Super Crazy versus Little Guido, and that can only mean one thing in our world here. Italian tradition of the week, as usual, when the FBI are on the scene. And today we're going to go back to the world of music for a, I don't know if it's an infamous Italian song. We'll find out right now. This is when you heard it.
Signori e signori, io mi chiamo Peppino Zurigilla.
And what a moving yarn. Peppino, oh you little mouse, so won't you go away? Find yourself another house to run around and play. You scare my girl, you eat my cheese, you even drink my wine. I've tried so hard to catch you, but you trick me all the time.
This is Peppino, the Italian Mouse, a novelty song co-written by Ray Allen, not that Ray Allen, and Wanda Merrill, published in 1960. It was the same as the last time. Published in 1962, Italian-American singer Lou Monti, who, if you remember him from a few episodes ago, also, of course, did Dominic the Donkey. Also recorded, released a song at Reprise Records in 1962. Monty's recording contains a high-pitched mouse voice in the style of Alvin and the Chipmunks, as you just heard, Little Peppino. Yep. The song helped make Monty famous and set the tone for the remainder of his career. The song contains both English and Italian verses. The song is very controversial for its depiction of Italian culture. It's anti-Italian discrimination. Monty's family collects royalty checks for the song to this day. Songwriters Marilyn Allen filed a federal lawsuit in Trenton District Court against the Woody Allen movie Broadway Danny Rose, claiming the melody of the film's theme song, Agida, borrowed 49 of the 52 notes from Peppino, the Italian Mouse.
Wow.
The story of
It
the
is a
song.
banger, so
The story of the song is about a man and a mouse named Peppino who lives at the man's house. The man laments that the mouse scares his girl, eats his cheese, and even drinks his wine. The man attempts to catch the mouse, but gets tricked each time. At the end of the song, Peppino tells the man to close his eyes, put his hand in the box, at which point a mouse trap snaps on his hand.
Jesus.
Monty recorded Peppino the Italian Mouse, and it reached number 5 on the Billboard Top 100 the week of January 12, 1963, number 8 in Canada, and released the song alongside What Did Washington Say When He Crossed to Delaware? That was the B-side of this song. So, Peppino.
Ci stanno usure la basciusella redumur.
Your homework on your
sera che l'esce quando
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Indummente da cucina balla solo su, ma parlano malandrine pure la gatta sa paura. Peppino usure cilla ma fa
I like that it seems like he gives him a last name. I think that's like,
Yeah.
scompari, mannaggia usure cilla a casa e nadai. Stasera in da cucina un po' che vino già la sa, e quando sempre aga Peppino già ingappa.
Ma tu chi sei? Siciliano?
No, I'm a Calabrese, a nut.
Wow.
So
So it-
was this popular in your house?
No, I don't think I heard it till years later, honestly. In that line is really funny. So, you know, the classically misquoted line. So he says there, I'm a Calabrese, which is a, I can't think of the word, not a, like a sect of Italy or whatever, right? You're
Okay.
Calabrese. But then he calls him a nut. So me and my buddy Don, we used to listen to this a lot, like to fuck around. And instead of Calabrese, we thought he said, I'm going to braise you, not like a braised nut. Took us a while. His name is Calabrese.
The other night I called my girl, I asked her, could we meet?
Okay.
Wow.
Anyway,
That was
this guy
amazing.
tormented by Peppino.
Mm.
To the ring we go. Is Super Crazy. He's tormented by another Italian named Guido. Crazy gets a quick head scissors, whips Guido around the ring, follows a spin kick. Guido ducks a charge, slings Crazy outside. Guido tries to dive after him, but bangs into the railing. Super Crazy dumps him in the crowd and follows out. Slams him on the floor. Goes up to the balcony. Sal lumbers over as Crazy flies into him with a moonsault off the balcony to a big pop. Back in the ring, Guido dodges the charge to the corner, hits a leg drop off the middle rope for 2. Guido stomps away, takes Crazy down to a Fujiwara armbar, but Crazy gets the ropes. Guido targets the shoulder, slams Crazy, goes to the second rope, but wastes time arguing with the fans, so Crazy power bombs him for a near fall. Guido pops up with a clothesline, ties up the ref as Sal's back. He drops an elbow on Crazy. Guido hits a splash off the middle rope for 2, chops away, catches Crazy on a float over, spikes him hard to the mat for 2. Crazy comes chopping back, but Guido shoves him down and gets a neck snap. Crazy ducks a leapfrog, yanks Guido down, and gets a cabrata for 2. Crazy gets a DDT for near fall, pushes back and twists into a Sicilian crab. Tajiri's out, climbs in the ring and smashes Guido with a kick and then a low drop kick. Tajiri puts Guido on the tree of woe, wrecks him with the baseball slide. Sal's in the ring, and now the ref makes the match into a 3-way dance, even though it's 4 guys. Tajiri attempts to drop kick Sal, knock him out of the ring. Crazy slams Guido, gets a triple moonsault, and eliminates Guido. So now we're back to Tajiri and Crazy, but he stalks Crazy, kicks him, and hits a brain buster to basically quickly clean up on all the damage that had already been done. This is a lot of fun. Crazy is amazing. Guido continues to evolve his game, his moveset, and everything about him. Great selling, great bumping. His submission style really hits, and he's kind of unique in the ECW actually at this point. Not a lot of guys besides like Taz are doing a ton of submission style wrestling. The moonsault was great. Just a constant pacing to it, and the finish was fun too. It's Jerry just coming back and getting the win that he deserved. So hopefully we get more to come from these guys. I went 3 1/4, Jenny. It was a lot of fun. Pretty much right on par with what these guys usually deliver.
Yeah, I liked this. Like it had so much chemistry to it, and I love the fact that it was like basically we knew it was going to turn into a 3-way dance, and then this old ref comes out there just to make it official. So anyway, I loved the jump off the balcony, the moonsault. That was sick. I love the use of Sal. I keep saying that every match that they have, I think Sal is just like really good in this. And he comes in, he does his big elbow, he does his big move. He really helps Guido. Like he has his back in every way. Like, and it makes Guido better. Guido just bringing it every match, and it like even this one, he dominated most of this match, and it worked really, really well with Super Crazy, who I love. He gets murdered by that baseball slide in the tree of woe in the corner there. That was sick. And then I love the triple moonsault to get Guido eliminated. And then the brainbuster was awesome. So I did 3 stars on this, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 on it. For me, it was because of the finish. Like it was just I wanted this match to go longer, honestly, and I just think it it took a while to get to the 3-way dance, and then it's like 3-way dance, one guy out, one guy, and then the other guy out, and the match is done. It felt like it was like 30 seconds between all that. So I feel like it could have used a little bit more time. I did still really like the match for what it was, though. The table spot for Sal pops me every time. Just how he fucking demolishes guys through the table. Just so the moonsault off the balcony was great. So yeah, just it turns out these 3 guys are great with each other. Who could have seen that coming? But yeah, just a super fun match. But I want to see them have like a pay-per-view length match. These 3 guys. So 2 3/4 for me.
I said, let's go to my house, we could have a bite to eat. And as we walked in through the door, she screamed at what she saw. There was little Peppina doing a cha-cha on the floor.
Peppino, known for his cha-chas.
That man is obsessed with that mouse, you guys.
He's tormenting him and his girl. After a break, the Dudleys are riling up the fans at ringside. They hop back in the ring. Credible and Jason are out. They ask why the Dudleys are making such a big deal about beating RVD for the tag titles, because Credible could beat RVD alone. Credible says the tag belts are coming on the waist of him and Storm, and that RVD's been ducking him for a long time, and everyone in ECW knows he's a true icon and champion. Out comes Fonzie, blowing the whistle, says Credible's only out here because the police are blocking Sabu from coming in and putting him through a table, and he's one lucky bitch. He says the Dudleys have been just talking, and now it's his time to talk because RVD's heading out to smoke everyone's asses. RVD hits the ring. Credible and Jason huddle up and decide to take off because it is time for a TV title match as Rob Van Dam takes on Devon Dudley. Joel Gertner cuts off the intro for Devon. He finishes it himself. We get a quick video recap of the Dudleys defeating for the tag team titles. Go back to the ring where RVD works the arm to get going, slugs away to a Rana and a top rope moonsault press for 2. RVD hammers away, gets a series of counters to an RVD corkscrew leg drop. He's pouring it on, gets a sunset flip for 2, but Devon counters a Rana with a power bomb. Out comes Credible. He whacks Bubba with 3 cane shots as Devon pile drives RVD. Devon gets out of the ring and throws down Credible, but Jason kicks Devon in the head, and RVD dives into all of them with a high cross body. After the break, Devon is working over RVD in the ring. We get some strikes, but RVD slugs back. He takes out Devon and barrels into him with Rolling Thunder. Bubba's gushing blood at ringside as he grabs a chair from Fonzie, but it backfires, and Devon hits a Hangman's neck breaker off the middle rope onto a chair for 2. RVD recovers, gets a bridging German, but the ref is out. Bubba comes in. We get a double powerbomb neck breaker combo. Balls bangs to the ring. He mashes Bubba with a vicious chair shot. Pelts Devon as well. Balls crotches Devon on the top. Fonzie sets up the Van Daminator, but Sign Guy hits Fonzie. Balls wipes out Sign Guy, gets a chair and hesitates, puts on Fonzie's hat, and then holds it for a super Van Daminator to Devon by RVD. Balls puts on the referee's shirt as RVD hits a 5-star frog splash, and Balls counts the fall. RVD realizes it was Balls the whole time. He's a little aggravated. They get into a shoving match about it. Balls then grabs a chair and swings, but dodges the sidekick and crushes RVD with a chair shot and stands over him. Pretty wild scene, more of a street fight than a match in ways, but we found a lot of stuff woven throughout it to push the feuds. Balls elevates up. Maybe he's going to get into RVD now. Maybe that's an elevation point for him. Get some revenge on the Dudleys. You get Credible, kind of pushing along his stuff with the Dudleys as well. RVD wins. He continues as champion, but he's got some different pieces in line. So the crowd is into it. I thought it was a fun segment. I went 3 stars, Matt. And I kind of like the different moving pieces here that this could lead to. I think Balls could have a fun one-off match with RVD for sure.
Yep.
And we continue this whole Dudley's Credible and Storm thing as well. That's been bubbling under the surface too.
Yeah, I went 2 3/4 on this. Really, a lot happening. Really fun stuff here. Devon, I thought, held his own in this match as a singles guy, so that was impressive to me. That was really good. Balls being involved in this is very interesting because it's like, especially him like swinging the chair at RVD. It's like, you got problems with the Dudleys. Now you want to start problems with RVD too? Like, good thing your name isn't Brains. Christ almighty. But like, so that's super interesting to me. It's like, buddy, you got to deal with the Dudleys. They've laid you out in a shower and backstage in like 2 straight weeks. And now let's pick a fight with a guy who hasn't lost a match in a year and a half. That sounds like a great, I'll help him first, but then I'm going to swing a chair at him and kill him. Like, just I don't know what Balls is thinking here, but the match itself was very good. I mean, RVD is doing his RVD thing, which he always does. He's just like, his baseline is like good match right now, so
Mhm.
he's on fire. He could go out there and have a good match with me, I think, at this point. So
Yep.
I went 2 3/4 on this, Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, I like all your points. That huge dive by RVD off the top, taking everybody out, that was awesome.
Mhm.
I mean, he just continues to pull out stuff like that. And Devon, I was impressed with in this match. Honestly, I thought in the match part of the match,
Mhm.
I thought he did really well with very little interference from Bubba. I
Yep.
mean, for a Dudley's match. I love the use of balls in this and him holding the chair for the Super Van Daminator. And I love him putting on Fonzie's hat too. That was cute. Not really sure why he's picking a fight with RVD, but why the fuck not? I mean, you know, he was hyped up from beating everybody's ass and RVD was there and he just threw his chair. I don't know, but I don't mind it. I hope they get a match out of it. Pretty fun match. I did 3 stars.
Yeah, one of the hallmarks of RVD's reign too has been, taking on all comers, having a
Yep.
wide variety of
Yep.
opponents on TV and pay per view. So I think Balls could just be another one that they add to that resume of, okay, like a different style of match. RVD just keeps fighting. So, all right, award sign, best match, Crazy to Jerry Guido, Fuckfest.
Yeah.
Yep.
Worst, I went Lynn and Cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, best moment, I went Crazy's moonsault. I thought that was awesome.
Yes,
Yep.
definitely.
Yep.
Most 90 was our buddy Jason's cell phone for sure.
And he was wearing a Hard Rock Cafe.
Oh yeah, that was very big at that time for sure.
Very nice.
Steve Corino mentioning the turmoil in Kosovo.
Yes. Rising, Corino, Taz, Crazy to Jerry, Balls.
Yep.
Falling, CW Anderson.
Literally.
Yeah.
Final grade, I went 6.5 out of 10. That was an improvement over last week. Some good matches, but again, not like a must-see episode.
Agreed. 6.5 for me as well.
Yeah, I went 6.5 too. If we at least have stuff going on this episode, I don't know how well it's all going to work, but we have things happening at least.
Yeah, I'm waiting for like a must-see again. That's the one thing.
Yep.
All right, final episode we're going to cover tonight, June 26th, 1999. We open at the Chicago Odeum Theater. Spanish Angel is rolling Jack Victory to the ring in a wheelchair. He's nursing his broken leg. Skull Von Krusch is in the ring, and Joey says it's not his real name. He's not even German, but they're working on it. Angel hops in the ring and tells the fans to shut up. Joey in the Nest says this is ECW's debut in Chicago and runs down the night ahead. We get our opening animation. We come back to the Odeum. Angel's now down in the ring. Von Krusch is heading up top and hits a big elbow. As soon as he pops up, Taz's music hits, and out comes our champion. Von Krusch is choking and stomping Angel as Taz gets in the ring and buries him with a T-bone. Angel charges. He hits a hard clothesline. Taz fires up the crowd. Victory gets out of the chair and attacks Angel, rips up his contract. Taz says, sit down before I put you in a wheelchair forever. Which is a great line. Taz says there's a problem in Chicago because he's in a very bad mood. He's the world champion, but there's no one to fucking kill tonight. Corino emerges from the curtain, and he's got a very jacked up guy behind him. He steps behind Victory and says, beat me if you can, survive if I let you. And says, how many more times do we have to hear it? Taz says it'll be however many times he wants to, and asks how you crawled out of Paul's ass so fast. Corino asks if everyone is proud of the foul-mouthed shooter, and the crowd pops. Taz says Chicago is rude and nasty, just like him. Corino says the fans of Taz are real stupid. Corino says this is all part of the plan, but Taz shouldn't feel special because the plan between Corino and Victory has been around for a while. Taz says, hurry up. Corino says he isn't intimidated because him and Victory have developed a killer in the tradition of Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher, and now they have a Taz killer, the one-man riot squad named Rhino. Corino sends Rhino to the ring. Taz tells him to stop and get smartened up. He's a firm believer to give the fans what he wants. But Rhino doesn't need to slap himself. He'll just do it for him. He's not going to choke him out. He's going to make him bleed and beat the shit out of him. Jenny, what did you think of the introduction of Rhino? Corino continuing to tease Taz. The assumption that Skull Von Krusch is now German and is going to get figured out to a new gimmick. That tells me they liked him after that match with RVD, by the way.
Right.
That they're going to get rid of this stupid name that kind of lingered from his jobber days in the WWF and make him a more legitimate character.
I always thought he was German, so I was not surprised at all by that. Also, who's this Angel guy?
Spanish Angel. I don't
Spanish
know.
Angel.
Yeah.
Like,
He's another guy that's just popped up.
Yep.
just casually puts him in right in there, rolling Jack Victory around like we're supposed to fucking know who that is. I'm like, okay, am I on crack?
Angel Medina is his
Angel
real name.
Medina. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see him. He'll be around for a bit as well.
Yep.
He worked in Long Island. So again, he's another like New York guy that's come in with DeVito, with Sclavon Crush. So we'll kind of see where things go. But yeah, he's another New York guy. So they really seem to have just raided that Northeast Indies. And that's where they started, right? It was with
Right.
Tri-City and all that stuff. So they really seem to be trying to reload this mid-card with a bunch of guys from this Long Island, New York area.
Yeah, Corino comes out with a lot more attitude when he's got big ass Rhino behind him. You know,
A lot
just
more attitudinal for sure.
yes, he was quite aggressive. I'm like, okay. I was a little impressed, a little scared for him. But the Rhino looks fun. Jack Victory looks crazy in that fucking wheelchair. And Taz just looks like he's having the best time. Honestly, this is like it looks like he's just having fun, and I don't know how accurate that is, or he might just be playing things really well, because overall I feel like the promotion is a little bit messy. But Taz, I have been impressed with him, even though I fought his championship run for a long time. But he's been good. I've enjoyed him a lot.
Yeah, I thought this was a great opening segment here. Just a lot of stuff going on. I think all of it works. Like you got Corino hiding behind this monolith of a human being and Rhino, and sending Rhino to do his dirty work for him. I think that's a good move. I liked Taz saying to Rhino, "You don't got to slap yourself because I'm going to do that for you." I thought that was a great line, and I like the one man riot squad. I think that's a great nickname too for Rhino. And Rhino is a brick shithouse. Good Lord, what a fucking monster. So, and Jack Victory and Angel were also there. So,
You halt to the monster. Fucking terrorist mouse.
Little Rhino.
Little Jujier, Rhino Jujier. Yeah, I think Taz, they've leaned in well to him not having like a true rival. Like it was weird for a bit with the Candido stuff and all that nonsense. But since they've just kind of said like, look, this is our champion. He's just gonna fuck up whoever he wants to fuck up until someone gets in his way. Is like they've kind of leaned in a different way now that's made it feel different. So
I also feel like they didn't really have a choice, because every other top guy is busy doing something too.
Or hurt.
Right, exactly. So
all right. Taz versus Rhino. Rhino gets in the ring, kicks Taz in the gut, and power bombs him. But Taz pops right up, no sells it, hits a clothesline to knock Rhino to the floor. Taz follows. He slings Rhino to the railing. Joey wonders why Corinos keep agitating Taz. Back inside, Taz hammers away, lands a massive and big, impressive head and arm Tazplex to a pop. Taz puts Rhino on the top rope, takes him over the super belly to belly, kicks him in the head. Taz goes outside, gets a table. He's kicking away, sets it up at the corner. Rhino tries to fight him off, but Taz blocks and puts him through the table with a hardway Tazplex, hooks the Taz mission, and we are done. Really fun squash. Wild atmosphere in Chicago. Tough debut for Rhino. I mean, he looked tough taking the beating. I was actually surprised the way they, knowing how much, seeing Rhino's look and what they think of him, we know how much they're going to think of him, right? That Taz has fucking eviscerated him in his first match is actually pretty surprising. Corino keeps playing with fire. Taz is dominant again, Matt. 2 stars for me.
yeah, this was really fun. I went 2 stars on this too. Taz just fucking destroys Rhino, and all of it looked great. Just super impressive. Taz beating up this massive human being, and the fucking Tazplex in the corner. Jesus Christ. Just brutal. Folds up Rhino like an accordion. So hell of a squash. I love a good Taz squash. I love these type of Taz squashes where he just fucking destroys somebody for like 2-3 minutes. So yeah, 2 stars for me. I really enjoyed this, Jenny.
Same for me, you guys. That super belly to belly off the second rope was fucking great. Like Taz just feeling himself. He's, he had everything like it was effortless, and really just made Rhino look like a bitch.
It's kind of the ECW way, though. You don't get too many guys debuting into like a hard push. I mean, I know I kind of said it was surprising, but every star they've had kind of started as like a bit of a jobber and just kind of worked their way up. I think Raven is the only guy that came in with like a push and like really pushed. I guess Bigelow maybe a bit.
Yeah, Bigelow came in strong.
Yeah.
And I guess Sabu was strong since I started watching.
Yeah,
But
always.
everyone else feels like they had to kind of earn it, you know?
I would say we've seen a lot of people earn that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, guys that come in with a name are different, like Benoit, and those guys kind of came with a
Right.
name. I mean, more of the guys that become stars in ECW.
Mhm.
Very
Right.
rarely do they get kind of like the Goldberg, like come in as like a dominant monster or whatever.
Mhm.
All right, the Dudleys stalk to the ring. Joey runs down the card that lies ahead, and Dudley's a case in point, right? Then we head to the break without seeing the champs in action, so that was weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Why they felt come out. It was odd. Back to where we go is little Guido's here again. Takes on Yoshihiro Tajiri. Guido rides down Sal to the ring, which is just a great entrance. Sal's talking shit to the fans. Tajiri hits the ring. This is a rematch of Hardcore Heaven, continuing the growing rivalry. Guido starts hot with a slap to the face. We head outside. Guido shoots Tajiri to the steel. Sal avalanches him. Back in the ring, Guido stomps away as Joey says they're working to sign a three-way dance with Guido, Tajiri, and Super Crazy for Heatwave. Tajiri gets a back elbow and a brutal slap to knock Guido to the floor. He whips him to the railing, suplexes him over it into the seats. Sal hoists Guido into the ring. Tajiri promptly kicks him in the head. Tajiri puts Guido in the tree of woe and buries him on the baseball slide. Guido kicks his way back into control, puts Tajiri in the tree and stomps away at him, retaliates with his own baseball slide. Guido twists into the crab but releases, stomps away. Tajiri shakes off a low blow, drop kicks Guido in the stomach, and wrecks him with another drop kick to the face. Tajiri gets a bridging German for two. We spill outside with Tajiri. It's a hard running chair shot to Guido. Tajiri hops in the ring. He plays to the fans. He heads back out with a chair, lines up in the aisle, charges with a vicious running chair shot to slice Guido open. Guido tries to escape back in the ring, but Tajiri keeps him trapped and bites the cut. Tajiri kicks to the cut, grinds at it with his elbow. Sal hooks Tajiri against the ropes, but Tajiri slips free. Guido nails Sal by accident. Tajiri kicks down Guido. Sal pulls Tajiri outside, slugs away, gives Guido a chair. He runs off the apron and spikes it into Tajiri. Back inside, Tajiri blocks a slam, but Guido twists him into a DDT into the Sicilian Crab, and Tajiri taps out. Pretty big win for Guido here. This one really surprised me.
Mhm.
I love it because I think Guido deserves to be on par with these guys and not just kind of the guy that takes the losses. The chemistry of these dudes grows week by week. So much stiff snap offense by both. A lot of violence mixed in. We don't really see Guido bleed a lot either, so that was cool. A lot of good near falls, a fun pace. It's really fun watching these guys work their way up into importance. Sal's a perfect heavy for Guido, like we talked about. And Tajiri's evolving into a madman. Guido adds to his resume. And Jenny, like, you know, I know we were all sad when the old FBI died because we loved JT Smith to start, that we loved, you know, Rich and Smothers were awesome. But this iteration is just as great. Like little Guido becoming the shooter, submission specialist. It's just a badass that can go. And Sal is just a big heavy who looks like he's just like kind of a, you know, big Stugatz, but when he's in there, he's really pretty lethal. So
right.
I will 3.25 on the match, and it's a really good pairing.
Yeah, the evolution of FBI is something that I did not expect to see. Like, yes, you know, we did love their antics, but yeah, this is just a different look for them that really is working. It's really working for them. Again, really good use of Big Sal in this. I love Tajiri putting Guido over the guardrail into the front row in that spot. That was awesome. I just love Tajiri overall in this match. He is so good. They have such great chemistry together. I like that use of that baseball slide in the Tree of Woe again. And then Tajiri also got to eat one of those, which I respected little Guido for using that same lethal move on him. So that was good. I love Tajiri taking that chair, running all the fucking way down the ramp and running back with it just twice to hit him as hard as he could with the chair. So that was very extra, and I enjoyed it a lot. I couldn't believe that he tapped to the fucking Sicilian Crab.
Yeah, it was more of like he was just a shit kicked at him, and that was just the hold that finished him more than like he tapped to the crab. It was just like he knew he was trapped and not going anywhere after the beatdown. So, but
I wish he had like maybe lingered in it a tad more because he tapped pretty quick. So, but yeah, this was a hell of a fun match, and I gave it 3 stars.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on this too. There was a violence to this that the other matches didn't really have with the blood. The chair stuff was all really well done, like Jenny, like you guys were both saying. So yeah, just another super fun match. I like that they're presenting Guido as an equal now when he kind of needs to be, especially if they're gonna, you know, seemingly it looks like they're gonna be feuding for God knows how long. So I mean, you got to present Guido as an equal here. So I like him. I wasn't expecting the tap out, but I like that Guido won regardless. So yeah, another super fun match between these two guys. These guys are they're killing it, along with Super Crazy. Like every time they go out there, they're having at least a 3-star match seemingly, and it's all been great to watch. So another 3-star match for me.
Joey narrates footage of Cyrus and Judge Jeff Jones talking in the back. He thinks they're trying to manipulate Corino into messing with Taz, and that Taz will destroy Corino eventually. And Joey says, but it is Corino who used Candido, and now he's gone. And he runs through everyone who Taz has choked out and said Cyrus and Jones could be dead men if Taz pieces this together. So I'm really curious to see, like, this is all very convoluted right now.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm curious to see what comes out of this. Like, is Corino and they kind of let the other shit go? Is it Jones? Is it Cyrus? Like, who ends up being the mastermind of this whole thing? Right. And do the others just kind of fade once they identify the way they want to go? So we'll see. Because right now it is a lot of moving pieces. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Main event time. The renewal of our old summer series, which I believe was 1997, actually.
Wow,
so
really?
About 2 years since these guys have been kind of introduced to ECW. Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible. I don't think I'm wrong on that. Was it 98? Was it 97 or 98?
Might have been 98.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I think Credible debuted at the end of 97 and the 98. I was gonna say, yeah. Okay. 97 was the big WWF war. That's right.
Yeah.
So here we go. TV title on the line as Just Incredible hits the ring with Jason, still unnamed Jazz, and Joey wants to know why Credible is holding her down and not calling her by her name, especially after 7 months he sent Chastity packing. Lynn hits the ring, desperate for a win here to get another shot at RVD. We get our intros and then lock in, ready to roll. Before the match starts, though, out comes Lance Storm and Dawn Marie to a massive pop from the crowd. Joey says Storm is planning to cash in on his favor for saving Lynn at the pay-per-view. Storm says he's here to collect. And ECW is with to blow through the roof and take the industry over. And when it does, the fights in the ring won't match the fights in the back for power. Jerry wants to associate with guys that have stroke and power. And for his favor is that Lynn associate with them, him Incredible, to take ECW over. Lynn says that Storm Incredible have had a chance to shine and come into their own in ECW. And after 10 years, he's getting the respect for what he does best, busting his ass in the ring every night. Lynn says it's his time to come into his own. And by working his way to the top, he's turning Storm down. Storm clarifies that Lynn is turning them down and says he can respect the idea of coming to your own and that Credible had to ditch a yellow mask and the duty have to get his respect. And he had to dump blonde guys named Chris. And Lynn can make it on his own, but he's still going to collect on his favor. And that Lynn now needs to lie down for Credible so he can get his title shot with RVD. Storm says Lynn has job before. It's no big deal. He can do it again. Before this continues, Dreamer comes out and with Francine. Joey says Tommy has 2 bulging discs. Tommy says he can't believe Jerry isn't putting a fist through Storm's face and don't listen to them. Get over it through hard work and make the fans respect you. Tommy promises he's going to get healed and he'll help Lynn kick their asses. Lynn says that both men got hurt at Hardcore Heaven and no one took Tommy to the hospital, but Jerry was bleeding out of every hole in his head and Lance took him. And he doesn't want to disrespect Tommy, but he should mind his business because he doesn't know what Lynn is going to do. Tommy wants to fight. Security stops him. Lynn begs Tommy down and accepts Storm's request to lie down and tells Tommy to leave and Francine to cool off. Joey says Sabu is out in FMW due to Storm Incredible, and now Tommy's being driven out by security, leaving Lynn alone. After the break, Tommy is still being walked to the back. The bell rings. Lynn lies down to booze as Credible talks shit and then covers him. But Lynn quickly cradles him for a near fall, of course, immediately turning on the ruse or on the agreement. So I'll pause here before the match starts because I'm curious, Jenny, what you think of how this went about. I like Lynn fucking with them. I think it's him saying, I'm not giving you any fucking favor. You helped me go to the hospital. Well, you were too stupid. Then you should have let me die, basically, is what he's saying. But I thought the Tommy thing felt forced. It felt like just a reason to have him out there because he's hurt. Like it made it way too obvious. Like Lynn's like kind of giving the wink, wink, like, hey, like, hey, you're blowing up my spot, dude. And then Tommy getting mad. Is he going to get in a feud with Lynn? So it feels like we get some guys that they're just trying to squeeze into things because they don't know what to do with them. And they want to keep Tommy relevant. They're on tour. They probably want the crowd to see Tommy, but he can't wrestle because he's hurt.
And Francine.
And Francine. So they're doing this stuff. You know, in the past, it would have been like with Douglas just was in the booth. I don't know. They could have done that with Tommy if they wanted to. We know he can announce pretty well. So I don't know. What did you think of Tommy's involvement and the rest of the stuff before the match?
I think I'm on Jerry Lynn's side on this. I wouldn't want to join up with those guys. They're assholes and pieces of shit. So fuck them. And Jerry Lynn stood up for himself, and he, you know, defended his whole career basically, and said he's going to continue to do what he does because what he's doing is working. He has won the respect of the fans. He is finally getting to the spot that he deserves, and he's completely right about all of that. Tommy and Fran coming out, yeah, I'm glad everybody got to see them, but they were a little bit pointless in this. Besides Fran looking gorgeous, but it felt fake. It felt like, this is not. I would have believed it way more that Jerry Lynn was going to lay down if Tommy hadn't come out and did all that.
Nope.
So it defeated the purpose of it.
Yeah,
But
made it way too obvious.
Yeah, but I do love seeing them, so it's fine. There's no way you want Jerry Lynn to team up with these guys anyway. So you knew he wasn't going to lay down. He's too good for that.
Yeah.
And so this wasn't too bad. It adds a little something for Jerry Lynn to do, which I like because I just enjoy him so much. But yeah, minus the Tommy Dreamer stuff here.
Yeah, I mean, once Tommy came out, you knew that Lynn wasn't gonna. I mean, it was probably rare. It probably wouldn't have happened anyway that Lynn was gonna turn
Right.
on him. But once Tommy came out, it was like, all right, then what? Kind of what are we doing? But I don't know. It was fine for what it was. It did take a long time to get there. This is a
Mhm.
very long segment before, so that was part of the problem too. Was that it took a while, and then even before Dreamer came out, it took a while, and then once Dreamer came out, it's like, all right, let's kind of see this thing through so we could see the main event here. So, I mean, it was fine, and like you guys said, I get why you want Dreamer to be a part of this show because it's a house show, and you want him to obviously he's one of your most popular stars, so you want the crowd to see him. But I don't know, have him do something else. To your point, like have him DDT Jack Victory or something. Who cares? Just something different. So it's weird, but I kind of understand why they did it, at least as far as the Dreamer stuff goes.
All right. So Credible chops away. Lynn comes back with a head scissors and some strikes, and then sends Credible flying into the corner, into the apron, off to the apron, into the rail. Lynn flies into Credible and Jason with the Pescado. Back inside, Jason hooks Lynn's foot. Credible nails him with a super kick and works him more with punches and kicks. Lynn's nose is bleeding as Credible grabs the chair and sets it up. Credible hits a sit-out powerbomb for 2, opens up the chair, spikes Lynn into the seat. Lynn flies over a charge into a sunset flip for 2, but Credible recovers with a low blow. Credible slams Lynn, heads to the middle rope for elbow drop for 2, goes to a chin lock. Lynn fights up as a jawbreaker, but Credible's up first. He charges and whiffs, crotches himself on the post on a baseball slide. We get a quick flurry of pin attempts into a Lynn sit-out powerbomb for 2. Credible eats a boot on a charge. Lynn gets a tornado DDT for a near fall. The ref gets nailed in the corner. Lynn hits a stunner. Jason breaks it up. Lynn takes a nail to slop drop, rustles up the ref, and a near fall on Credible. Lynn gets whipped into the ropes. Jason nails him with the cane, and Credible catches the DDT for a close near fall. Credible kicks away, loads. That's incredible, but Lynn counters. However, Credible counters again. We end up with Lynn bridging into a roll-up to win the match and the title match stipulation as well. Lance Storm is out right into the ring. They beat down Lynn. Him and Credible hit a stuffed cradle pile driver as Joey dubs Storm and Credible the Impact Players, which of course will be their name going forward. Storm says, since Lynn wouldn't lay down, he still owes Storm a favor. So while he's on his way to the hospital again, find someone who can take him this time. He will take Lynn's TV title shot against RVD now instead. The Impact Players pose and stand tall. So a damn good match, a great post match with a good story woven in. Lynn stands tall. He's proud. He gets to win, earns his title match, but because of the way he acted, gets swarmed over and beaten down. And now we'll see if Storm does take that TV title match instead. It's clear the Impact Players are being elevated and quickly taking over ECW as well. Jenny, great stuff. I went 3 1/4 to wrap up this episode.
3 1/4 from me as well. Another good battle between these two. They have good matches. They always have. Since their initial feud. I like that they keep it in the ring. They're not really kind of brawling outside. They're keeping it. And there's a lot of there's it's like a heaviness to this match, right? It's like the stipulation and, the drama before the match. So it feels like a real good fight too. I like Jason getting involved in it. But he ate that DDT for his involvement. cane shot was really good. Credible's like really shocked that Jerry Lynn kicked out of that one, but so that was good. I like the finish with all the counter moves, and then I like the post match. You know, I was wondering if that was the first time Joey had said Impact players, because he kind of said it as they were leaving, as he was kind of yelling it at the end. And I was like, I wonder if that's the first time he said it. I couldn't remember or not. But everybody looks good in this, really. I mean, even though Jerry Lynn got the win and the beatdown, I mean, it's kind of like one step forward, 2 steps back. And I hope he has somebody to drive him to the hospital this time.
Yeah, I went 3 stars on it. Another super fun match. We know these guys work well together. We've seen it before. This was a very quick match for them too. I feel like most of their matches are pretty long. This was fairly quick by comparison, but still really good. I like the finish. It keeps Credible strong, having him lose by a roll up. So that was smart too. And God, poor Jerry Lynn. Just the guy gets the shit kicked out of him like seemingly every week at this point, except for when with DeVito and Cash. But like anytime he's in the ring with somebody above them, he's just like he's losing a piece of himself in the ring. It's fucking ridiculous. Like he's breaking his face. He's getting the shit kicked out of him here. Like just take a week off. Like go on vacation or something. Fucking Christ. Sit this one out for a bit. So yeah, another fun match here. So 3 stars for me.
It was a good episode, and I like where the roster's at right now, but it does feel like, and I think it's by design, probably a cover for the lack of major stars as they rebuild them. Like everyone's in the middle of everything. There's like all these different feuds going on with the same guys mixed around. And again, I think it's a good way to maximize what little name value you have at this moment as they're rebuilding things, but it's definitely an interesting structure they have going on right now.
Yeah.
All right, best match to me was the main event, Lynn Incredible.
Yes.
Yep.
And then the worst, I had Taz and Rhino.
Yep.
Best moment, I went with Taz beating the shit out of Rhino, put him to the table.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Most 90s, I want the concept. Store mentions it, but the concept of ECW taking over the wrestling business. I mean, if you're sitting there at 99, like you're feeling pretty optimistic, right? Like we got a national TV deal. Pay-per-view's been great. Like we're still ahead of the curve. You know, we still have some garbage stuff. But we also have this great young talent, like crazy, and like just balling out. Like, I think you still feel pretty optimistic that ECW is on the rise. Like this, I think if you're an ECW fan, you might be feeling the best you've ever felt. Like, yes, it's not their heyday with Rhino and I mean with Raven and Sandman and Dreamer and like all that. Right? There's been hotter times in ring, but I don't think you could have ever felt better of their chances as a promotion because the wrestling industry is booming. Right. Like WCW is starting to hit the shitter, but like they're still doing pretty good numbers and overall, you know, success. WWF is like molten hot right now as far as pop culture and everything else. In ECW, they got a magazine, they got the, you know, video game, they got a national TV deal, the pay-per-view. Like you're looking at it thinking, oh, we're on par. Like why we're not behind at all. Like we're just maybe the numbers out there. Yeah, but we're not far off. So you know, it's crazy. It's just crazy within 18 months, this and WCW are dead when you look at where everything is right now. Like how fast that escalates is insane. All right. Sock Rising with Corino and his boys. Taz, FBI to Jerry Lynn. All had good nights.
Yep. A lot of good rising stars this night.
I just went Spanish Angel for falling. Not much
Victory.
Von Crush.
Yeah, my crush.
Check Victory falling out of his wheelchair.
Yeah, that too. You could put it in permanently. I went 7.5. This is the best one we watched tonight. Very strong episode overall. So
totally agree. 7.5 for me.
Yep, right. I went 7 on it.
That'll do it for us here tonight. Hope you enjoyed our trip through Extreme. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time with more ECW. We'll have another 3 weeks of television, and a month from today, we'll be at you with Heatwave 99. So already almost to the doorstep of another pay-per-view. Subscribe, like we talked about earlier, Backbone, North-South Connection, and the place to be wrestling feed as well. Subscribe on YouTube, all podcast applications, and social media. We appreciate it. Stay extreme. We'll talk to you soon.
E quando si imbriaca Peppina Giangappa.
Ma non venivo, a schifio.
If I ever catch you, I'm gonna throw you right in a bagnaro.